Once, there was a people who lived near the Atlantic Ocean with the Osage, Kanza, Ponca, and Omaha tribes. These people were called the Agakpa, Quapaw, or downstream people. Legend has it that this name resulted from a fateful crossing of a river, when the rope the people were using to cross the water broke. The name means those broken off from the main stem. Once, they were a lost tribe. Today, they have found themselves at the crossroads of a booming agricultural center in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. Led by Chairman John Berry, their chief, the people of the Quapaw Nation are poised to bring prosperity to themselves and the region they inhabit. The Quapaw are an integral part of the rich culture, history, and heritage of the United States and of Arkansas and Oklahoma. This is their story.
Ogakpa is how we say Quapaw in our language, and it means downstream people. We're relatives of multiple tribes. We're a Sioux tribe. So we're a southern Sioux tribe, and we were once part of a larger group, and then we divided up. And we believe it was the Osages, Poncas, and the Caws, and maybe another tribe. Anyway, there were some tribes that broke up, and we went downriver to Arkansas. And we basically lived from the confluence of the river at Cape Girardeau at the Mississippi, and I guess that's the Ohio River, and Greenville, Mississippi. Predominantly, our villages were on the western side of the Mississippi River. Occasionally, they were on the eastern side. Our traditional enemy were the Chickasaw Nation. We met DeSoto in the 1500s. We met Joliet, Marquette and Joliet in the 1700s. In the diaries of DeSoto, he went to one of our villages in like 1520s, and he wrote that he walked through 5 miles of cultivated agricultural land. So we've been agricultural people for a long time. And there was also a herd of bison in what they call the Grand Prairie, which is where Stuttgart, Arkansas is now. Sort of the delta farming belt of Arkansas was sort of our homeland, and there was bison there. So we're related to the tribes of the Lakotas and the Dakotas, the Sioux tribes of the north. And so we thrived. We got along with the French, and then at first we were with the French. There was a captain in Marquette and Joliet's group that stayed behind and started a fort or an outpost in Arkansas. It was the first Eastern or European outpost west of the Mississippi. It's called Arkansas Post. It moved several times. It's near the confluence of the Arkansas and the Mississippi. It moved a lot because the water changed, the rivers changed. And actually in the early 1800s, people might learn about this in history, but there was 3 earthquakes. And one of them, two of them were over 9 point on the Richter scale, and the Mississippi River flew north for 3 days. And that devastated a lot of Quapaws. That was right before the Louisiana Purchase took place. So the Quapaws had a long history there. We got along well with the French. We got along well with the Spanish. After the Spanish beat the French in a war, they've got the Louisiana Purchase, the land of Louisiana that was purchased by the government. And actually, once the Louisiana Purchase took place, that was a big change for our tribe. We started our first treaty actually in August, a couple of weeks ago, August 24th, was the 200th anniversary of our 1818 treaty, where we ceded all of Arkansas, all of Oklahoma, and part of Texas in a horrible treaty for us. And then we had subsequently a couple more treaties. They sent us to Louisiana, we came back. They sent us back to Louisiana, we came back. And finally, a person I'm a descendant of, a guy named Chief Hecaton, negotiated with General Clark, who was over the Indians at the time from Lewis and Clark. And he got us a reservation in northeast Oklahoma.
At one time, our tribe, the Quapaws, belonged to to a larger group of Indians, and they were Sioux. And so they were in the upper Ohio River Valley. And so a group with other related people got together, and they decided they were going to break off from the main Sioux Nation and go out and make their own way and start their own tribes. So they left the Sioux Nation and they started down the river, or down the, wasn't the river, just coming down the valley. And they came to a river that was at flood stage. And so the water was so high they couldn't get across. So they sent expert swimmers across with ropes to tie to trees on the other side of the river. And so the people could cross holding on to the ropes. And they had little, what we call bull boats that were made out of hides, and probably elk hide and buffalo hides. And so that's what they put their belongings on. And then they'd cross holding onto the rope, crossing the river. And one group got across, and so they went upstream. And there was another group that was in the water when the rope broke. And when the rope broke, they were washed downstream. And then the people that were left on the bank were called the people of the middle waters. And so they called them the Wajaji. The people who got across and went upstream are known as the Amaha. And the people who were washed downstream were known as the downstream people. So the white man came along and he couldn't pronounce those words. So he said Omaha, Quapaw, and Osage. So that's how we got to be who we're known as today. But we are closely related to those other tribes. And so being related, we call the other people in our tribe Degiha, which means we are all related. Degiha.
We call everybody, I mean, you can call them what you want to, but generally their brother or their uncle, even if they aren't your uncle, or they're your aunt, even they're not your real aunt, but you give them a title of some sort. So yeah, you need all those people to help raise you. You can't just, parents know some things, aunts and uncles know something else because they worked with cattle, or they worked on the railroad, or they worked somewhere else. So yeah, you've got to have all those people to raise a child, I think.
You can discipline children. You don't have to be mean to them. It's not discipline. Discipline is after they spend some time with you. They're able to go out on their own and do to other people what you've done for them. So I think it's how you raise a child. It's how a child grows up.
So you got structured life like that. That's like why you retired from a prison system, minimum security prison system, and they had a tent. They smoked down there. The kids used to, or inmates used to want to go down there, and I was against it, basically. They said, why? I said, if you really believed it, that you won't be in here.
That's right.
So I said, y'all going down there and y'all brotherhood and planning strategies. I said, I can't support you guys like that. So some of you guys are serious, but if you was really serious, you would not be in here doing that.
And in his case, since he was with foster parents, he went from foster parents to foster parents, and none were Indian. He didn't know he was Indian. He didn't have the Indian feeling. And now when he came to our home, he that's when he started knowing about the powwows and knowing about wanting an outfit and knowing about going to the dances and wanting to compete in dances and meeting the other men from other tribes. It was a little later in life that, because when he went to school, everybody else was white. And so it took him a little bit of time to become heartfelt about being Indian. And now my husband is just the opposite in the fact that he was told he was Indian, but no one ever said or did or know. So finally, when he got older, that oldness really helps being wise. By the time he was 30, knowing he was Indian, what does it mean to be Indian? So he had to go on his quest to really find out what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I don't know? What is the church like, Indian church like? What is this? So he had to go on his own alone without the parents, because who wants to be Indian back when? Nobody wanted to be Indian. If they were, they didn't tell anybody. So he finally found out on his own about the church and how Indians should live. So I think it's steps for Indian boys that they get to and finally make it. An Indian woman, I think they get after early. They know they're going to have babies. They know they have to cook. They know all this stuff from a really young age. But the men, it takes a little bit longer, because you're not going to give you might give your child a bow and arrow thing, but you're not going to give them a gun right away, you know. So it takes at a certain age that you learn certain things. So.
My children, or my grandchildren, were raised when we had someone to expire, that we would go to and sit with the body, and that we would eat the meals that they would prepare. And then on the last days that we had the memorial, and then we have a memorial for 3 more years after that. So we have 4 memorial dinners in honor of them. Yeah, when they had a big feast dinner, everybody was sitting at the table, and they always had him to say the blessing, and give the prayer, the blessing. He always sat at the head of the table, and my grandmother and I would sit next to him. And if you've ever been to an Indian feast, the plate, they give you a plate, and it's full of all kinds of goodies already before you even start to eat. There'll be fruit, apples, oranges, bananas, maybe cookies, and maybe some candy. There'll be all kinds of stuff in there. And excuse me. So you have to sit there and look at all this, you know, while he's saying the blessing. And so I'd have a hard time kind of sitting still, you know. I was wanting to pick on some of that and nibble some of it, and my grandmother would say, "Why, keep your hand down." And so my grandpa would pray, and he'd pray, and pray, and prayers were so long. You know, he prayed for everything and everybody. And in his prayers, I would hear him say my name, and my Indian name, Mushroom Get That. And when I heard him say Mushroom Get That, my ears would kind of perk up, and I thought, oh, he's talking about me. And he was. And so his prayers would be for my children. I was just a kid. So when I grew up, and the reason for it was because my mother died, my father was gone, I didn't have any siblings, no brothers and sisters. I had aunts and uncles, but he always said, you know, they have their own families. So he'd tell me, you have to be strong, you have to be tough, because someday you're going to have a family. You'll have children. Your man might go off and leave you. You have to take care of those children. You brought them into the world. You're going to feed them. You're going to clothe them. You're going to put a roof over their head. That's your responsibility if you have children. Rye bread, grape dumplings, Indian corn, and
pork and beef and hominy.
Great dumplings, different
Great
things like that.
dumplings.
Those are traditional foods that
Fried
we have
bread.
at our dinners and stuff. Consistently have those.
They'll always have in dry corn and pork and hominy and beef. And what's the gray biscuits?
Yeah.
What are they?
Bean
What?
bread.
Bean bread. That you won't see that anyplace else.
That's an acquired taste. It's got different taste.
Yeah, you will not see that anywhere else.
I would just try to get them involved as much as possible with either their relatives or someone within the tribe, or just make sure they go to our annual meetings, get the newsletter, try to help them somehow have communication and contact with our tribe, because we want to take care of all of our citizens. And there's benefits to being a citizen of our tribe.
Be yourself. People drink, do drugs. Why? False pride. Total. And to this day, everybody's false pride to do that. Because they can go to a dance and they stand over there like a statue. They get a drinking or drugging, whatever, but the main course. Then when that wears off, be yourself. If you don't act that way, but you don't need drugs or anything like that to make you change. Just be yourself.
It would be a combination of things, really. It would be coming from the child's family to begin with, what they were taught. And that's where we all come from. It was the teachings that we got from our family type of thing. And to keep that in mind, that we are who we are, that we are the descendants of our ancestors who have gone before us. But what we have learned, again, we have that with us, and that will continue with us. But I think for anyone dealing with children, particularly our Indian children, they need to be very sensitive to that.
Proud, you know, and you know, take care of yourself, present yourself always. You know, I think it's important to be clean and take care of yourself and present the best of yourself every day.
Contact with other people and being surrounded by the other people, not being able to move and being forced to change some of our ways. We ended up by saying that this change does not mean that we change into non-Indians. This change is in the manner of how we act as Indians in the modern setting. And in this manner of learning how to act as modern Indians, we become as a result more Indian than ever.